Remember when you could walk into a room, say, "Keep the change, you filthy animal," and everyone would laugh? Or someone would yell, "How you doing?" across the office, and at least three people would respond in character? Those were the days when movie and TV quotes weren't just for movie nerds. They were part of the way we spoke to each other. I think that era might be gone. Back in the late 80s, 90s, and even into the early 2000s, movies and TV shows gave us a shared language. These weren't just lines from scripts, they were little pieces of cultural currency. You could say, "I'll be back," or "Wednesdays we wear pink," "Yippee-ki-yay," or "Did I do that?" And most people in the room would get it instantly. They'd laugh, repeat it, or throw back their own quote. It was a way of saying, "We're on the same wavelength." Why was this possible? Because we were all watching roughly the same things at roughly the same time. Pop culture wasn't as fragmented. A handful of blockbuster movies dominated theaters for months. TV networks had only so many primetime slots. Even if you didn't watch a certain show, you absorbed its big catchphrases through commercials, talk shows, late night appearances, and endless reruns. And repetition made those quotes stick. You didn't just hear them once in a theater. You heard them every time the movie was on cable, every time you popped the VHS or DVD into the machine, every time your friend's little brother shouted it from across the yard. And merchandising reinforced it too. T-shirts, lunchboxes, fast food tie-ins, a quote like, "May the force be with you," "Life is like a box of chocolates," or "The tribe has spoken," wasn't just in the movie or show, it was in your cereal aisle. And here's something else that mattered: the way we watched things. Before the internet, entertainment was scheduled for us. You didn't choose when to watch Friends. It came on at a specific time, and you were either in front of the TV or you missed it. Family and friends gathered around the same screen at the same time. Movie theaters were packed because if you wanted to see the new blockbuster, that was the only place to do it. That shared viewing created shared memories. Everyone saw the same big moment within days of each other, and the quotes started flying immediately. You'd walk into work or school the next day and say, "Alrighty then," or "ET phone home," and everyone got the joke because they'd all just watched it too. Now we've replaced that collective experience with personal ones. We watch on phones, tablets, laptops, smart TVs. We stream alone in our rooms or on the train. We pause, rewind, skip around. We finish episodes at completely different times. There's still connection in talking about shows online, but we've lost the magic of a living room full of people laughing at the same line at the exact same moment. And that shift matters. Those shared in sync moments made quotes stick, not just in our heads, but in our relationships. Now, the moments we remember are most often ones we experience in isolation. The line that may have been a universal reference in 1998 is now just something you quietly smiled at while scrolling in bed. Now we have more content than ever, but it's scattered into a million niches. You watch Netflix true crime, your friend spends all night on Twitch, another friend only streams K-dramas, and someone else lives on TikTok. Even the big movies don't feel universal anymore. And it's not that people don't like quoting movies or TV anymore, it's that the audience just isn't in the same place. A line from your favorite show might be huge on your fandom subreddit, but never leave it. TikTok audios can feel massive for a week or two and then vanish. Even memes, which you could argue are the modern version of the quotable line, burn too fast to become permanent. And here's where I think it gets bigger than just nostalgia. The loss of universal quotes is a symptom of how our culture has splintered. We don't have as many shared moments that unite us across age, geography, or background. Instead, we have thousands of smaller moments, each living inside its own algorithmic bubble. When we had those shared quotes, they acted as kind of social shorthand. You could be in a totally random group of people and yell, "Run, Forrest, run," or "Inconceivable," and get smiles from strangers. It was a quick way to say we have something in common without having to actually know each other. Now our references are more personal and more siloed. You can still have that we're in the same club feeling, but it happens in smaller, more specific groups. Gamers quoting a particular streamer, people on one side of TikTok referencing an inside joke, a fandom repeating lines from their favorite niche series. Those moments are still meaningful, but they're not universal. They're not something you could throw out at a party and be 90% sure everyone will get it. And this shift changes how we build community. It's not necessarily bad. In some ways, it's more inclusive because more kinds of stories can find an audience. But it also means we've lost some of that low effort, high impact bonding that happened through shared pop culture. Without those universal quotes, there's less connective tissue between strangers. We have more choice, but less overlap. And maybe that's the trade-off. A culture where everyone has access to exactly what they like is exciting, but it's also one where the common ground is shrinking. We used to be able to stand on that common ground and shout, "Luke, I am your father," or "No soup for you," or "How rude," and know that people would get it. Now, if you try it, you're just as likely to get a confused look and a "What TikTok is that from?" Could we get universal quotes back? Maybe, but it would take a cultural phenomenon big enough, sticky enough, and rewatchable enough to cut through all the streaming platforms, social media bubbles, and demographic lines. And that's hard to do when the pace of content is faster than ever and attention moves on in days. It might just be that the era of the timeless universal quote is over, and what we have now are micro quotes and micro memes, still funny, still meaningful, but destined to live and die in smaller circles. And maybe that's okay, but part of me misses knowing that if I said, "What you talking about, Willis?" half the room would fire back with their own sitcom line without missing a beat. So I want to know, what's the last movie or TV quote you remember hearing everywhere? Because I'm not sure we've had one in a really long time.